Hello and welcome to the Whirly Bloke channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the DJI Inspire controller not reliably connecting to your tablet or phone and showing disconnected on the screen. I've had my DJI Inspire 1 Pro for a couple of months now, and it's been really good apart from one very irritating thing. Randomly, the display on top of the DJI Go app will say disconnected. Now that doesn't mean to say that it's disconnected from the aircraft itself. It basically means that the controller is not talking. There we go, it's just said disconnected, completely randomly. And then it's come back as ready to go. I've got my Inspire down here on the floor. So when it says disconnected, and what it means is that the tablet is not talking to the controller. You still have complete control over the Inspire and can fly, return to home or work and so on, but what you'll lose are some of your logs and some of the data that you've captured whilst you've been flying. You won't be able to turn the camera on or off. Initially, when I first got the Inspire, it wouldn't happen at all. The only issue I found was it would connect to the iPad Mini 2, which is seen as being one of the best devices to use with the controller. It wouldn't connect at all to my Galaxy Tab 2. Just under no circumstances would it connect. But it would connect to my Galaxy S5 phone. Over recent weeks, things have got worse. This is now sitting here connected with a very high quality USB connector to the controller, and as you can see, or maybe not, it's just saying disconnected, and then it's come back again. I'll show a close-up of that in a second. This has got gradually worse to the point that now I can't actually use it in any sensible fashion. One of the suggestions is to change the device that you're using, change the USB cable. I've tried all that, it made absolutely no difference. You try a new cable and it would be fine for maybe 5 minutes, and then the problems would start to happen again. I've uninstalled and reinstalled the apps, it makes no difference. For a short period it works, and then it just randomly stops again. Changing the order in which you turn on all your devices can make a difference, but again it doesn't actually fix anything. The correct order to turn these on is basically to connect everything up, turn on your controller, turn on your Inspire, and then start the app. I could send this back to DJI and get them to have a look at it, but this is going to take a few weeks and I don't really have the time. I've got some filming jobs coming up and I really need to get this fixed as soon as possible. I believe I know what the problem is, and I'll show you how I fixed it permanently on my setup. Here we are on the bench. We've got the controller connected via high quality USB-C lead to an iPad Mini 2. This iPad Mini is pretty much brand new. There we can see it's connected and it's just disconnected. Perfect example of the behaviour. Connected via a high quality USB-C lead. This iPad Mini 2 is clean. It's only a week old. And the only app that we've got installed on here at the moment is, other than the standard apps, is the DJI Go app. And this really isn't acceptable. It's unusable. Disconnected here simply means that the controller is not talking to the iPad. As you can see, we've got no video signal on here. It's completely unresponsive. Now interestingly, most people have had success connecting Apple devices to the controller, and a lot of the complaints seem to be centered around Android devices. But bizarrely, there we go, it's just connected and disconnected again. But bizarrely, my Galaxy S5 has been the most reliable of the devices that I've connected to the controller. So here we've got the Inspire controller, and if you look carefully in the back here, the thing I found was that the USB connector is actually pretty loose when you insert it. So I'm suspicious that the problem actually lies in this module, which is fitted in here. Having changed all the devices, used multiple USB leads, this is the common factor. And I could have sent this back for repair at DJI, but I think that would have probably taken several weeks. So I've bought a HDMI module. This cost about £80 in the UK. This is spare part number 54, and although it says it's for a Phantom 3, I'm assured by the suppliers it is exactly the same module that lives in the back of the Inspire controller. So let's see what we've got in this box. So we've got the case, PCB, and a set of fixing screws. As you can see here, the PCB is actually fixed. There's two parts to this. There's a PCB inside this module, and this is external PCB here. If we just gently prise that off there and lift that out, this is the USB module. And to be honest, the quality of this USB connector is pretty poor. But I'm hoping that there is an issue with this on my existing controller, and by changing it for this brand new one, we will actually fix the problem for good. So let's see how we go about that. First thing you need to do is make sure the controller is off. Be careful with the antenna because you don't want to damage those. And very carefully remove the 4 cap head screws. This is not a difficult job, you just need to take care and don't lose anything. There we go. So we've taken the 4 cap head screws out. As you remember on here, that PCB is actually connected to another PCB inside this module, which pops off that way. So we need to, you can't just pull this off, it needs to be popped off the PCB that's sitting in here. So take something non-metallic, a plectrum or one of these plastic removal tools, just gently move it round underneath and lift off the plastic cover. You see this one is slightly different, it's got a gold, but it's the same thing. So we'll get rid of that one. PCB is held on by 3 crosshead screws, and as we can see, this is exactly the same part number. So this is WM610 GRCP interface V3, which is the same as that, TCXM. So the information I was given about this being the same module was correct. So to remove this, undo the 3 crosshead screws. Carefully. There we go. Now, the innards of the controller are connected to this board by 3 ribbon cables, 2 small ones on either side and a large one on the back. You need to remove those. You just need to be very careful. Don't use anything metallic. If you grab these, they will just pull out. Don't let them disappear back inside the holes. You have trouble getting those out. That was pulled out. Gently remove the connector. There we go. So that's the old one. And in fact, if you look down inside this connector, now it's free of the plastic cover. Some of these connections down here, they are all at different heights. And one thing I'm suspicious of is actually that those connectors in there are corroded. Maybe this has been sitting in a factory or warehouse for a long time. And looking at it, like I said before, this isn't a very high quality component on here. So let's get the new one installed. First thing to do is to remake the connections. And again, just gently push these ribbon cables back onto the board. It's a little bit fiddly, and you'll see here there was a slightly disappeared now. There was a white line screen printed across there. Make sure that this is pushed all the way in. These 2 connectors are a little bit more fiddly, and you need to just push those in. Don't be tempted to use a pair of pliers or anything like that, because you can crease and damage the ribbon cable. Okay, so that's pushed in there nicely. We just need to screw this board back down. Like all these sort of jobs, it's all pretty simple, to be honest. You just need to be very careful, don't rush, and if something doesn't look quite right, just stop and think. The last thing you want to do is break something. But I think this is a job that's well within the reach of most people who own a screwdriver. There we go. Just double check those ribbon cables are pushed in as far as they will go. That looks good. Here we have the new HDMI module. This is the USB module. The HDMI module is in here. That connector pushes onto here. So the best way to do this, I found, is slide it in at the top from a slight angle like that. Make sure that those connectors are correctly located in the holes in the cover, and then simply press that down. Make sure it's lined up all the way around, and we can now put the 4 cap head screws back. We could have used these screws, but to be honest, I just put the original ones back. That's all connected back up. All the sockets are correctly located in the module. Nothing seems to be bent. Let's connect everything back up and see if we fix the problem. So we've now got the iPad mini connected with the same USB cable to our new module on the back, and the first thing I noticed was how much tighter this was in here. Let's turn the controller on. Great. Green light's on, which means we're talking to the Inspire, which is sitting thrumming over there. Let's fire up the Go app. There we go. It's immediately connected. Moving that around, wiggling the connector, all seems good. We're indoors here, so we've only got 5 satellites, which is excellent. So I can control the gimbal. Yeah, it's all good. I can probably, the props are off on the Inspire, so
take off.
I can start recording, although I don't think I've got an SD card installed. Excellent. Now, what's interesting is, let me turn the controller off. We're now disconnected. I can remove the iPad 2 mini, which intermittently used to connect to this, and I can take a Galaxy Tab S2. Let's just close all those applications. This is connected by not a USB-C connector. So let's connect the Galaxy Tab S2 up now. Now, previously, this wasn't intermittent. I could never get this device to actually talk to the controller. Let's turn this on. Okay, let's find my Go app. There we go. And we're on Inspire Pro. Skip the tutorial. It's telling me there's a firmware update required, but I'm connected. Never before has this worked. So I am pretty pleased with this fix. Okay, it's cost me a little bit of money. I haven't had to wait 3 weeks for DJI or an approved dealer to actually fix it. And on speaking to a number of the repair specialists, it seems this is actually a known weak link. So once you've tried different devices and different USB leads to try and fix your disconnected problem, which is a big problem, and you'll see lots of people making posts about the problems they've got with it, I'd suggest just try replacing your HDMI USB module with this one. As a reminder, the part number is, although it says it's Phantom 3, this is an Inspire, spare part number 54. I've now flown about half a dozen flights with this new module connected here, and it's been completely reliable. So I'm pretty sure that this has fixed the problem, and I can feel confident that I can use everything on the controller and the ground station tablet that I want to use. Well, that fixed the problem for me. I hope you found it useful. If you've got any questions, leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer them, and we'll see you next time.